Today we're going to move through a functional strength-based pregnancy yoga practice, which is designed to help you build endurance, stability, confidence and resilience for birth. Training your body in this way during your pregnancy is going to help you to stay grounded during your labour and birth while remaining soft and responsive in your nervous system. I have designed it for every phase of your pregnancy, but please, as always, just move in whichever capacity that you have today. Remember that when we think about strength in birth, it's not about force or tension. It's about steadiness and stamina and the ability to stay present without gripping or tightening in the body when things become intense. We're going to start today with some pranayama exercises, so working on connecting the mind, the body and the breath. So I want you to find any comfortable seated position, your variation of sukhasana, your easy pose, and please feel free to grab bolsters, cushions, blankets, anything you want or need to make this practice as comfortable as you would like it to be. We're going to close down the eyes and start to draw that attention, that energy inward. Observing the natural rhythm of the breath and how the breath is flowing today, how the breath is feeling, how the body and the mind are feeling. Without forcing too much change, we're just going to work to deepen that inhalation slightly. See if we can send that inhalation down to baby first and feel the belly expanding first as we draw that breath up through the ribs to the chest, and then feeling that expansion through the shoulders. Exhale as we soften the shoulders first, then the chest, the ribs, and then the belly. And just keeping that awareness on that natural rhythm of the breath, we're just gently deepening, acknowledging any areas where you may feel restricted in the breath. Depending on baby's size or how they're laying, they may be making that a little bit more challenging for you, or they may not. Just noticing without judgment. I want you to think about what strength means for you in your body, in your mind, in your everyday life. Maybe you consider yourself to have strength, whether that be physically, mentally or emotionally. Maybe you notice or you observe that certain areas of your being, you may feel you're lacking strength. Our strength is something that we do require for birth. And the best way to practice the skill of strengthening the mind, the body and the breath is often through gently strengthening. These gentle practices, reminding the body that strength doesn't mean force. Strength can mean endurance, stability. Strength can mean softness and letting go, enabling the body to feel soft and to open. We call upon strength during our pregnancy. But really during labour, when things are feeling intense and we have to find that internal drive to push us forwards, to keep us going through that contraction as it builds, that momentum builds through the body. We reach the peak of that contraction. Exhaling to soften, finding that strength in softening, in the exhalation. Noticing any areas of the body where you might be gripping here, or tightening, holding. Just seeing if you can consciously release and let go into those spaces. Can we breathe through the tightness, through the challenge, while maintaining that beautiful length through the spine, and keeping that awareness on the breath. Another thing to note about strength during your pregnancy, during your labour and birth, even if at times you do feel weak, that's okay. That's okay. But you do have that strength inside of you. Labour and your contractions cannot be bigger than you because they are you. It is your body and your baby producing that wave, producing that pain, that discomfort, however you want to call it. So it cannot be bigger than you because it is you. It's coming from you, from source. Your next inhalation, I want you to take the deepest breath in that you have taken all day, filling the belly, all around baby, drawing the breath up through the ribs to the chest, expanding through the shoulders, lifting through the crown of the head, and then softening that jaw. And again, inhale. Let it go out through the mouth. We're going to bring the palms together. You can open the eyes gently. We're going to interlace the fingers. And I just want you to gently wave through those palms. And just acknowledge how the wrists or the fingers are feeling. You could keep those eyes closed if you'd prefer. And see if you can change that direction. It can be a little bit like patting your head and rubbing your tummy, but just seeing if you can change the direction of that wave. Encouraging that movement to become as big as feels comfortable. You can bring the elbows or the shoulders in here, leaning into that intuition and just listening to whatever the upper body here is asking of you. Maybe change up that direction again, just to challenge the brain and the body. Keep breathing. And then with those palms interlaced, we're just going to imagine that there's a small ball in between the hands and just roll them. So we're up in line with the eyes. The fingertips are in line with the eyes. Again, change that direction. You may feel this in the shoulders. We're working through the shoulders here. Finding that strength through the shoulders. And then reaching both those hands high. And as we exhale, we're going to drop one hand down towards one side and open out through that side body. Inhale, connecting to the core, the pelvic floor. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, maybe come down a little deeper if that's available to you. You could drop down onto the forearm. Soften through the hips. Inhale. Windmilling those arms. Exhale. Inhale. Palms are coming together as we exhale out through the mouth. Beautiful. We're going to find our way over into a tabletop position now. And when you get here, we're going to keep the wrists slightly further forward than the shoulders. Because of that increased amount of relaxing, we're susceptible to hypermobility, so just being mindful there. Taking those knees nice and wide, and then having the big toes together. Now, leading with one of the hips, we're going to start to draw our lovely pelvic circles. Remembering this beautiful movement pattern is so fundamental for encouraging the inlet of the pelvis to open, that top part of the pelvis with the knees nice and wide. But also it's a really beautiful way to encourage baby into an optimal position, and just for you to be able to release any pain or discomfort when we're in labor, working on building those natural pain relief through your endorphins with these beautiful, slow, rhythmic movement patterns, encouraging the size of those circles. You can even bring the chin right down towards the chest. And bring the upper body into that movement more. And just noticing, where is this movement pattern offering you the most release? Keep breathing. And changing up that direction whenever it feels right to do so. Working in time with your breath and body. And then finding a little bit of stillness as we take those knees in from the edges of the mat. Now taking a breath in, as we lift, squeeze and gather the pelvic floor and core muscles together. So we're meeting underneath that belly button. We're drawing up from the pubic bone, down from the rib cage and in from both of the hips. Squeezing, lifting, gathering through the core. And as you exhale, I want you to keep the core held, but try and soften in the rest of the body. As we build this strength through the body, encourages your nervous system to trust the body and the body's ability to birth your baby. Keep working with the exhalation, tightening those core muscles together a little bit more with each out breath. Last time. Squeeze. And then really slowly, I want you to release from the core. So being mindful, exhale. To slowly let go of those muscles and really notice the difference between the core being engaged and the core being soft. So from here, we're going to take it a little bit further. You could always just focus on those squeezes if that's what feels right for you and your body today. As well, if the wrists are becoming uncomfortable anytime, you could drop down onto the forearms, or maybe you want to use a cushion or a blanket underneath them. So again, bringing that core squeeze back in, lifting, squeezing, gathering here. And I want you to notice, we're going to extend one leg out behind us and just notice what happens to the body. Where do we have to call on to tighten a little bit more to keep the body stable with that leg extended? Now, trying to keep the hips facing down towards the earth here, so we're not externally or internally rotating through the pelvis and the hip. We're keeping that alignment, and the leg isn't too high or too low. We're trying to keep it in line with the body there. Keep breathing. Squeezing through that core. And then slowly tucking the toes down at the back and gently pulsing that heel as we release through the core. Finding a little bit of space through the hamstrings. And then taking that knee back under. Inhale, lift, squeeze, gather the core, and extending the opposite leg out behind us. Again, noticing, is it more challenging on this side? Is it easier? Where is my body speaking to me? Breathing as you tighten through the core on that exhalation. As we remove any part of the body out of that tabletop, we do shift the focus, especially in those deep internal core muscles. We're working them slightly differently. Again, trying to maintain softness through the shoulders, through the back, through the jaw. And then slowly lowering those toes and pulsing the heel down towards the ground. So that is your variation 2. So you could just be in your tabletop doing your pelvic floor squeezes, or you could come into one leg hold at a time. Your variation 3 is going to be starting the same way. As we take a breath in, we lift, squeeze, gather the core, extending one leg out behind us, and then framing the opposite ear with the opposite arm. And choosing here whether we just exhale to tighten the core and focus on that alignment through the pelvis, or if we wanted to, being really mindful that we're not overextending and stretching out the abdominals here, but we can take a breath. As we inhale, we can lift the gaze, raise the fingertips, maybe even extend a little bit higher with that back leg. And as we exhale, squeeze the core, draw the elbow to the knee, rounding through the spine. Inhale to reach. Nice and slowly and controlled, exhale to squeeze. Remembering not to overextend here. If there's any tugging or pulling on the abdominals, then please don't move into this much range. We've got about another 20 seconds wherever we are. We're building strength unilaterally in the body here, working the core, the deep internal pelvic floor muscles, and the smaller, more supporting muscles of the pelvis, along with the bigger ones. We're still working the glutes, the psoas muscle. And then nice and slowly bringing the hand and the knee back down. We're going to take those knees nice and wide, big toes together, and send it back to our extended child's pose. Now, just being mindful, if you're struggling with reflux or heartburn, you might want to keep the head elevated above the heart, coming onto the forearms or a block, a bolster, a cushion. And just allow the weight of your body to be absorbed by the earth here. Really consciously releasing the pelvic floor. Remember, during labour and birth, we want that core space to soften, to lengthen, to be able to support your baby on their way down and out of the birth canal. So in between these strength practices, take that mindfulness, that awareness to that core space, really letting it go. And on your next breath in, wherever we are, we're going to come back up into our tabletop position. Taking that deep breath in as we lift, squeeze and gather the core, and then coming into whichever variation we did on the other side, trying our best to come into the same on this side to promote balance. But please just trust that your body does know what it needs, and if that doesn't look like the same movement pattern, then that is okay too. We're going to be moving for at least another 30 seconds. Or maybe we're just in that tabletop position, focusing on those deep internal squeezes. Last one, if we're moving dynamically. Bringing that hand and that knee back down. We're just going to wiggle out through the hips. So swing them to one side as you take the gaze to the opposite heel. Gently moving between the two. And then we're going to tuck the toes under, send the glutes high, coming into our downward facing dog, and pedaling out the heels here, wiggling the hips from side to side, take the gaze underneath the armpits. Whatever feels good in your body here, keeping a bend or a softness in the knees, and just bringing it back to the breath. Maybe you need to take the feet slightly wider, whatever works for your breath, your baby and your body here. And we're going to start to walk the hands and the feet towards each other and coming into our standing forward fold. So we have a bend or just a softness in the knees. The chin can tuck right round towards the chest. And we're going to sink the glutes backwards into our chair pose. So bringing that awareness, that attention back to the core. Squeezing, gathering through that core space as we sink the glutes backwards. Bringing the arms up, we've got an open chest, activating the glutes. Making sure we can see all 10 toes. Exhale as we bring those hands down. Just give the legs a little shake here. And again, lifting, squeezing, gathering the core, sinking those glutes back and down, just challenging the body if it feels good there. Can we take them a little bit further down or back? Working with balance. If you really don't feel comfortable here, you could bring the hands up against a wall or maybe use a chair, an actual chair in front of you so you've got a little bit more support. Activating the quads, working with the glutes, putting that trust in the body and also feeling soft through the shoulders, through the arms, allowing the rest of the body to feel supported and soft through your strength. Exhale. Give those legs a lovely little shake. We're going to step back with one leg. We're going to bring it into a high plank here. So if for any reason you know that you shouldn't be in a high plank, please just come straight through to tabletop. If it feels okay and you know that you're okay to come into a high plank, you're going to take a breath here. Squeeze the core. And then gently lower those knees. Take the chin towards the chest. Tucking those toes, downward facing dog. And then from here, we're going to lift the right leg, coming into three-legged dog. Squeezing the core as we take the right knee to the right elbow. Back towards the sky. Right knee towards the left elbow. Will depend on how big baby is at this point. Back towards the sky. Right knee towards the nose. Back towards the sky. And then we're going to step that right foot forwards. And untuck the back toe. Now, you could have both hands, one on either side of the foot. Depending on baby's size and where they're sitting, you might be more comfortable to have them on the inside of the foot. Now again, when we're here, I want you to think about the pelvis. So I don't want us to be turned out to the side. If we're really uncomfortable here, we could lift out of the pelvis slightly, but trying to soften into that hip. And then if it is available to you, we're going to lift and squeeze through the core. We can use that knee to bring the torso up as we breathe and take those arms high. Exhale. So we're sinking into that hip. We're finding strength and stability through the body. We're drawing that energy upwards. You might want to stay here for your last few breaths if it feels good and you're okay into that hip. Bring the hands down. You can tuck the back toe under and draw it upwards into your high lunge. Generating that heat through the body. Exhale. Again, if that back toe is still up and you want to, you're going to step it backwards into your high plank. Gaze between the hands. Squeeze the core. Exhale. One knee at a time. Chin to the chest. And then tucking those toes, downward facing dog. Taking a moment just to catch your breath here. And then reaching that left leg high, three-legged dog. Left knee towards the left elbow, squeeze the core. Three-legged dog. Left knee, right elbow. Three-legged dog. Left knee towards the nose. Three-legged dog, and then stepping that left foot forwards, lowering that back knee down. Keeping that chest open, maybe the hands are on the inside of the foot. Breathing into the hip here. And then again, completely your choice. Maybe you just stay in that equestrian pose and breathe into the hip, trying to find that challenge of letting go into that hip space. If it feels good, you could use that hand on the knee to draw the body up. Exhaling. Maybe it feels good to tuck the back toe, raise that knee, checking we're in a right angle here, and coming up into our high lunge. Activating the core. Inhale, reach. Exhale, windmill those hands. Well done. Stepping it back, high plank. Squeeze that core. Lower those knees. Take them nice and wide and sending it back either into your extended child's pose or into your puppy. So you could keep the hips high and coming down onto the chin or the forehead, but with the hips a little bit higher. Remember to keep focusing on the breath and allowing the body to feel heavy with that exhalation. The heart space is opening, softening. We're allowing ourselves to find stillness. We don't need to earn our rest in our everyday lives. Least of all during pregnancy, and definitely in your pregnancy yoga practice, always moving in whatever way feels best for your body and your baby. Your next breath in, we're going to bring it back into that tabletop position. Take those knees in from the edges of the mat, and if it feels right to do so here, encourage the navel down towards the mat slightly, drawing those shoulders back and raising the gaze, the chin. Just being mindful that we're not tugging, pulling on those abdominals. Exhale, chin to chest. Rounding backwards into that cat. And just keep working in time with your own breath, your own body. Exhale back. Keep it moving. Thinking of all the beautiful space that you're offering the spine each time you take it from flexion to extension. And then we're going to tuck the toes under. We're going to send it back to downward dog. And then walk those hands and those feet towards each other again. Gently swaying here from side to side. Just being mindful if you feel dizzy or lightheaded at any time. If it feels good, you can encourage the size of that swaying movement. Allowing the torso to feel heavy. Keeping a bend in the knees or a softness there. Maybe you want to gently pulse. Maybe the arms feel better if they're folded. Whatever the body is asking for, keep breathing. And then finding some stillness. Now we're going to work with the feet as wide as they need to be, but roughly hip width, maybe wider if that's more comfortable for you. And then we're just going to take them as close to the edge of the mat as we can be. Inhale as we draw up into our halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale as we draw all the way up, sweeping those arms, drawing that energy up. Exhale, forward fold. Again, stepping back with that right leg. Left leg to join, high plank. Lower those knees.
Chin towards the chest, tucking the toes, downward facing dog. Right leg coming forwards, left leg to join. Inhale, slowly reaching and rising. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale to reach. Exhale. This time, left leg back. High plank or straight into that tabletop. Squeezing the core as we lower those knees, chin to chest. Tucking those toes, downward facing dog. Left foot forwards first. Right leg to join. Chin to chest, rolling and reach. Beautiful, exhale. Inhale halfway. Exhale, forward fold. This time, we're going to step back with the right leg. We're going to line the heels up with each other, and that right foot is at about a 45-degree angle. Now, connecting to the core and the pelvic floor here, we can use that knee, bringing the hands onto the hips, so we're checking that those hips are squared, they're facing forwards, and breathe into that warrior one. If it feels good, we can reach those arms up. Shoulders are soft. You can even give the wrist a little shake just to make sure that you're soft in the rest of the body. And keep that focus on the breath. So we are pushing the body here in a comfortable way, always listening to what it's telling you, but we're making sure that that breath remains available to us when the body is under effort. The body is working hard. It will be working hard during your labor and your birth. Even in a cesarean birth, your nervous system is working at maximum capacity and being able to rely on the breath to remain under control while the body is experiencing intensity. That is one of the biggest skills we're practicing in our strength practice. Inhale to reach. Exhale, opening out those hips, bringing it into that warrior two. We're trying to make sure we're not turning in with this front knee. Just tracking that ankle and remaining open. Shoulders are soft. Bring it back to the breath. Feel the intensity. Exhale, soften into it. Maintaining that focus. You can do this. You can hold. You can breathe and get through the wave of intensity. Inhale. We're going to reverse that front palm. Straighten that front knee. Now just being mindful we're not locking it out here. We're going to bring it into Trikonasana, or triangle pose. Bringing that arm down towards the ankle. Maybe this hand rests on the hip. You could take the fingertips all the way up. If that's a little bit too strong, you could keep a little bend in that front knee and rest that forearm. Beautiful. We're going to cue on that pelvic floor again here. As we bring a bend back into that front knee, draw those arms back up as we turn the hips back towards the front. And as we exhale, we bring those hands down, high plank, squeeze the core, lower those knees. Drawing it backwards into your cat. Tabletop, tuck the toes, downward facing dog. Stepping forwards with the right leg. The left leg comes to join. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale as we draw those arms up. Exhale. This time our left leg is going to come back first. Line the heels up with each other, and again, just ask yourself if that feels the same on this side or if it feels different. How does it feel different? And use the hand on that knee. Remember, again, we can bring the hands onto the hips, just checking we've got that lovely right angle here, connecting with the core. Inhaling. We're almost there. Finding that softness, working with the intensity. Challenge yourself to release the jaw, release the shoulders. The legs are activated, they're working hard. Inhale, reach a little. Exhale, turn those hips to face the side. Warrior two. Keep breathing. You can maintain that strength in the body, the responsiveness of the breath. When you feel that challenge, bring it back to the breath. And then straightening that front leg, bringing it into that beautiful triangle. Maybe we take that modified version. Maybe the gaze is up at the fingertips, maybe it's forwards. Breathing into that balance, that strengthening asana. We're opening through the hips, the side body, softening through the neck, the jaw. Inhale as we bring a bend back into that front knee. Send those fingertips high. Exhale. Stepping it back. Taking those knees down. Tucking the toes. Downward facing dog. We're going to walk the hands and the feet towards each other. And then nice and slowly rolling the body up to standing. Reaching, palms coming together. Beautiful. We're going to come into one more strengthening exercise before some deep relaxation. Well done in your practice today. So taking the feet wider than hip width here, we're coming into our goddess pose. Bringing that awareness back to the core, the pelvic floor space. As we come down into our goddess, I want you to really work with whatever it is that you've got left after this strength practice today, and just being mindful of keeping the legs in the right position, protecting the pelvis, the pelvic floor, and listening to whatever it is your body is telling you. So inhale as we lift, we squeeze, we gather. And then as we sink the glutes down, the knees stay nice and open here. So we're working the adductors here. Inhale as we reach those arms high. Exhale. And I want you to bring the length through the spine. Again, bring it back to the softness of the breath. You're going to hold for 5 more. Let it go out through the mouth. Nearly there. Last one. Bring those hands down, bringing it into that wide leg forward fold gently, just wiggling those hips from side to side. And then we're going to heel toe the feet in slightly and then sink the glutes down towards the ground. So working on opening out through the hips here into your variation of malasana. So we can take it into that full squat in a minute if it feels comfortable to do so. But we've worked the hips, the glutes, the adductors quite a lot today. So just making sure we've given them a little bit of time and attention to slowly stretch, to slowly cool down. And then if it is available to you and it is in your practice, you want to find your way into that full variation of malasana, bringing the glutes down. Elbows are inside the knees. If you want to keep some movement going there, please do. We're just going to rest, whether that is with the chin down, palms to your heart space. We're allowing the body to start to release and to slow down. It's important after every bit of strength we offer the body, we then complement that by offering the body relaxation. So when we're pregnant, that's even more important. Slowing down the breath. Just noticing, acknowledging how the body is feeling, any sensations that arise, any thoughts or feelings that are present. In yoga, we practice Sthira Sukhamasana, which basically translates to steadiness and ease, and finding that within your asana practice, within your postures, but also within your everyday life, and practicing that throughout your pregnancy is going to help you to translate that into your labor and your birth. Approaching that with steadiness, with ease, with calm and comfortability. You have the ability to be strong. You have that internal strength, that internal wisdom. You also carry steadiness. You carry ease. Your body is responsive. Your baby will lead the way. Your body is responsive. It's designed perfectly to be able to birth your baby. Taking one last deep breath here. And then bringing those hands behind you, sinking the glutes down. And we're going to take the legs out in front of us. I'm just going to swap. And bring the hands a little bit further behind. We're just going to shake through the feet. Work on removing any of that energy. We tend to get very stuck in our everyday lives, moving in very repeated and controlled, structured movement patterns. But pregnancy does not adhere to that kind of structure that we've set in the Western world, and allowing your energy sources to
Move in slightly different ways, like your pelvis, like moving your pelvis in your pelvic circles, offering the ankles and the feet a chance to just fully relax and to fully shake it out, move that energy around. Keep breathing. And then you're going to point and flex through the feet, through the ankles. And then maybe just bring in a few circles in one direction. And then changing that direction. And then we are going to find a side lying position. So if you've got a blanket or a cushion, maybe that comes underneath the left ear, and bringing another cushion or a blanket, anything you've got around, up against that left leg, so that you can rest that right knee comfortably on top of it, feeling supported, feeling held. I'll give you a moment to get into that position, anything side lying and comfortable. I'm going to be seated, and if side lying doesn't work for you right now, come and join me in Sukhasana, your variation of Sukhasana. But for deep and meaningful rest, that side lying position is incredible. It's also really helpful for getting baby into that optimal position. And spending time in that side lying position every day is going to be really helpful for encouraging the pelvis to open in the right way, the pelvic floor to soften. When we relax on the side, we are training the pelvic floor that it's safe to let go in that shape, in that position. Whenever you are there, I want you to bring that awareness back to the breath, back to baby, back to your body, and to that beautiful internal world. And just acknowledging your practice today and giving your beautiful body some gratitude for all the work that it is doing every day to grow and to nurture your baby, while also protecting you and allowing you to breathe, to move, to digest, to rest. Seeing again if we can deepen the breath ever so slightly here. And as we exhale, allowing the jaw to soften, the tongue to rest away from the roof of the mouth. Sending that wave of relaxation through the body, down, through the belly, the legs, to the ankles, the feet. Noticing any thoughts or feelings that arise, just acknowledging them without judgment and allowing them to drift away. We're going to finish today with some up breathing. So in this side lying position, we're going to focus on our up breath, that beautiful breathing exercise for the up phase of labor, when your uterus is contracting upwards and the body is beginning to open. So we take the breath in through the nose for 4, and we exhale out through very gently parted lips for a count of 8. If you can't quite reach that count of 8, then please just focus on an in for 4 and an out for 6. Maybe you will work up to that as we move through the breath, but maybe you won't, and that's absolutely fine too. So it works on keeping the exhalation longer than the inhalation, keeping that central nervous system nice and calm, reminding the body that it is safe to release, to expand, to open. So when you're ready, taking that breath in through the nose, sending it right down to baby. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale out through the mouth. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In, 2, 3, 4, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In, 2, 3, 4, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In, 2, 3, 4, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In, 2, 3, 4, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I want you to keep that counting going internally. If you feel like you've got more space in the breath there, you could take the breath in for 6 and out for 10. Keep encouraging the length of the inhalation to be able to encourage the length of the exhalation. And then really nice and slowly, I want you to start to bring a little bit of movement back to the physical body, whatever that looks like for you. Maybe it's wiggling the fingers and the toes, or rolling the wrists and the ankles. You're going to give yourself time to slowly bring some movement, some awareness back to the body. Maybe it feels good to take the arms overhead or extend the legs away. In your own time, you can open the eyes. But just giving yourself space and time while you're still held and supported by the earth to gently move back into the body, whatever that looks like, whatever feels best. And there's really no rush, but whenever you're ready, you're going to join me back in a comfortable seated position. And making sure we're supported, we're held. And we're going to close off our practice today with 3 rounds of Om. So I want you to really think about the softness in the jaw, the pelvic floor space as you bring that beautiful sound energy into the body, sending it down to baby, offering baby that beautiful sonic massage. So when you're ready, we'll take the arms up on the in-breath. Namaste. Thank you so much for practicing with me today.